Kirlian photography is a technique capturing electrical coronal discharges named after its discoverer Semyon Kirlian. When an object on a photographic plate is connected to high voltage, it creates an image. The technique is also known as electrography, electrophotography, and more. Kirlian photography, once the subject of scientific and parapsychology research, is now mostly used in alternative medicine. Claims about paranormal auras are not scientifically accepted. History traces back to 1939 when Kirlian and his wife noticed a glow around a patient receiving electrical treatment. They experimented by placing objects on photographic film with high voltage, creating images showing silhouettes with an aura of light. In 1958, the Kirlians' work gained attention, leading to its public introduction in the West by Lynn Schroeder and Sheila Ostrander in 1970. The technique involves placing photographic film on a metal plate, putting an object on the film, and applying high voltage. The resulting corona discharge between the object and plate exposes the film, creating a Kirlian photograph. Colors vary depending on discharge intensity. Kirlian photography doesn't require a camera, it's a contact print process. Transparent electrodes can replace the discharge plate for capturing with a standard camera. Scientifically, Kirlian photography's aura claims are debunked. It mainly records electric fields and moisture on the object's surface. Claims of diagnosing illnesses or capturing auras remain unproven. It's criticized for its pseudoscientific nature. In popular culture, Kirlian photography has appeared in books, films, and music albums, often portraying paranormal or supernatural themes. Deja vu, a French term meaning already seen, describes the sensation of remembering a situation as if it happened before, even when it hasn't. It's a puzzling feeling that can leave people confused, but it's a common occurrence. The term was coined by French philosopher Émile Boirac in 1876. Boirac suggested déjà vu might be a memory phenomenon where our brain recognizes similarities between our current experience and a past memory, leaving us with a sense of familiarity. Déjà vu can sometimes be associated with medical conditions like temporal lobe epilepsy and migraines with aura. However, it doesn't necessarily indicate a serious problem. Some researchers explored genetic factors, like the LGI1 gene, as a potential link to déjà vu. Certain drug combinations can also increase the chances of experiencing déjà vu. One explanation is the split perception theory, where déjà vu occurs when we experience a situation twice in quick succession, with the first encounter being fleeting or distracted. Another explanation relates to memory. Déjà vu often involves good memory functions, particularly long-term implicit memory. It's like recognizing an event you can't fully recall. Cryptomnesia suggests déjà vu occurs when forgotten information stored in the brain is invoked by similar situations, creating a feeling of familiarity. Dual neurological processing proposes that déjà vu happens when signals entering the brain's temporal lobe are slightly out of sync, causing the same experience to feel like two separate events. Dreams may also play a role. Some déjà vu experiences resemble a situation from dreams, and there's a correlation between remembered dreams and déjà vu. The unity of opposites, a concept often linked to non-duality, has deep historical roots in philosophy. Heraclitus, an ancient Greek thinker, introduced the idea that everything is in constant change, yet a unity of opposites exists simultaneously, containing both difference and sameness. In medieval philosophy, coincidentia oppositorum gained prominence. This term describes the coincidence of opposites and has been explored by scholars like Nicholas of Cusa, Carl Jung, and Mircea Eliade. It suggests that contradictory elements can coexist, revealing a deeper unity. In modern philosophy, dialecticians argue that the unity of opposites can exist in reality or thought. Opposites co-substantiate each other, and their unity is essential for their existence. For example, upward only makes sense because of downward and hot, wouldn't exist without cold. This principle underlies the very existence of opposites. Philosophers like Hegel explored various pairs of opposites such as finite and infinite, identity and difference, and cause and effect, emphasizing how they are interconnected and form a concrete unity. The unity of opposites is a profound concept that suggests that opposing elements can coexist, and their unity is essential for their existence, a notion that has fascinated philosophers throughout history. Cryptoastronomy delves into the realm of hypothetical astronomical objects, objects that have been contemplated throughout history but remain elusive to direct observation. For instance, in ancient times, philosopher Philolaus conceived of the central fire, an imaginary celestial body around which other heavenly bodies, including the sun, were thought to revolve. These speculative objects are not limited to our solar system but extend to both its inner and outer reaches. They encompass diverse entities like theoretical stars, planets, and other celestial bodies. Within our solar system, we have a list of imagined objects. In the wider cosmos, concepts like hypothetical stars, brown dwarfs, and black holes capture our imagination. Even the existence of extrasolar moons is a subject of conjecture. Moreover, religious, astrological, and pseudoscientific beliefs have proposed stars, planets, and moons that defy scientific acceptance. The diversity of hypothetical planets is equally intriguing. They include ammonia planets with potential ammonia lakes, planets orbiting black holes, carbon planets with a carbon-rich composition, and Chthonian planets stripped of their outer layers by intense stellar heat. Chlorine planets, coreless planets lacking a metallic core, desert planets with scarce water, extragalactic planets outside our Milky Way, and eyeball planets with surface features resembling human eyes contribute to the rich tapestry of ideas. Helium planets, primarily composed of helium instead of hydrogen, and Hycean planets, water-covered worlds with hydrogen-rich atmospheres, provoke curiosity about exotic environments that may host extremophilic life. Ocean planets with entirely aquatic surfaces, superhabitable planets surpassing Earth's habitability, and tidally detached exomoons, once satellites but now gravitationally liberated, expand our cosmic imagination. Toroidal planets with donut-like shapes, Trojan planets near the Lagrange points of larger bodies, and vitriolic planets abundant in strong acids, including sulfuric acid, complete the intriguing roster of hypothetical celestial bodies that continue to capture the imagination of cryptoastronomers. The crypto-terrestrial hypothesis proposes that mysterious beings linked to UFOs and alien abductions might have earthly origins, akin to hidden cryptids. According to this theory, these enigmatic races have lived on Earth as long as humans, disguising themselves as extraterrestrials or occult entities. This idea shares similarities with the interdimensional UFO hypothesis, notably Jacques Vallée and Joseph Allen Hynek's work. Some even consider it an extension of Richard Shaver's concepts. Self-hypnosis, a self-induced hypnotic state, is often used to enhance self-suggestion. In self-hypnosis, individuals take on the roles of both the suggester and suggestee. This practice can be divided into two main approaches: concentrative, where focus is solely on specific suggestions, and inclusive, where various thoughts and emotions are allowed. Researchers have identified 13 distinct types of self-hypnosis practices, categorized based on the involvement of a hypnotist, clinical definitions, and the source of suggestions. In history, the Scottish physician James Braid introduced the term hypnotism in 1841 and later experimented with self-hypnosis. Émile Coué and his conscious autosuggestion method gained popularity in the early 20th century. Autogenic training developed by Johannes Schultz in 1932 combines physiological and psychic conditioning. Self-hypnosis involves 4 steps: motivation, relaxation, concentration, and directing. It has various applications including pain management, anxiety and stress reduction, aiding sleep disorders, addressing obesity, asthma, and skin conditions, improving concentration, recall, problem-solving, alleviating headaches, and emotional control. Self-hypnosis can help manage pain, relieve stress, and improve self-esteem. it provides individuals with a tool to control and manage pain independently. Stress reduction through self-hypnosis also supports the immune system. In childbirth, self-hypnosis techniques can help alleviate pain and discomfort, with methods like glove anesthesia, time distortion, and imaginative transformation. Self-hypnosis can address a range of issues and behavioral problems through self-directed thought based on hypnotic principles. Research suggests a high correlation between self-hypnosis and traditional heterohypnosis, although some differences exist in the qualitative experience between the two. In the realm of physics, there's a fascinating discovery that defies convention. It's the emergence of a new kind of matter known as the swirlonic state, and it has a remarkable ability: it bends the laws of physics. In the world of matter, there are two fundamental categories: passive and active. Passive matter obediently follows Newton's laws of motion, where the application of force impacts acceleration or mass. But then, there's active matter, which operates by its own rules. It possesses the power of self-directed movement, a trait commonly observed in living organisms and certain particles. What sets this swirlonic state apart is its behavior. Unlike passive matter, which can exist in various states simultaneously, this active matter behaves uniquely. It defies convention by existing solely in solid, liquid, or gas forms with no intermediary phases in between. The particles forming this active matter join together in conglomerates called swirlons. They move collectively in circular patterns, akin to schools of fish navigating through the sea. What's truly astonishing is that these swirlons challenge one of the bedrock principles of physics: Newton's second law of motion. Instead of accelerating when subjected to force, they maintain a constant velocity, a departure from the well-established laws of physics. While this revelation originates from computer simulations, it raises profound questions about the nature of matter and the laws that govern it. Further experiments with real-world active matter are essential to unlock the full potential of this discovery. Scientists aspire to comprehend the intricate rules that dictate the behavior of active matter, with the hope of eventually creating materials that can self-assemble, defying conventional physics. In essence, the swirlonic state bends the laws of physics, highlighting the profound richness and complexity of active matter in comparison to its passive counterpart. This newfound oddity of life has the potential to reshape our understanding of the physical world. In the field of psychology, cognitive dissonance is when our thoughts and actions don't match up, and it makes us feel uncomfortable. Imagine you say you don't like sweets, but you're caught eating a chocolate bar. That's cognitive dissonance. To make things simpler, sometimes our actions clash with what we believe. This creates an inner conflict, making us uneasy. We try to fix this uneasiness by changing our beliefs or actions. For example, if you say you hate math, but then enjoy solving math problems, it's confusing. To feel better, you might start thinking, maybe math isn't so bad. Cognitive dissonance happens to everyone, and we deal with it in different ways. We might change our minds, justify our actions, or ignore the problem. It shows up in situations like saying you care about animals but still eating meat. Knowing smoking is bad but making excuses to keep smoking. Throwing trash on the ground even though you know it's wrong. In a nutshell, cognitive dissonance is about our minds trying to make sense of conflicting thoughts and actions. The magnetic saguaro cactus is a peculiar type of cactus found in Arizona, particularly around Ripsey in Pinal County. It has been described as having magnetic properties due to veins of charged metals like copper running through it. These magnetic characteristics make it attract or repel animals and birds, which then get impaled on its sharp thorns. The cactus digests its prey, turning them into a gooey substance. Back in 1899, Joseph Mulhattan, known for his tall tales, claimed to have discovered this magnetic cactus. He said it was so alluring that it drew animals and even humans toward it. To examine it safely, he tied a rope around himself while his friends held on to it. A follow-up report described the cactus as a type of giant saguaro found in various places around Florence. The area's strong magnetism, possibly due to underlying copper or other magnetic minerals, made these cacti behave like magnets. Some were positive, attracting creatures, while others were negative, repelling them. An eerie incident involving two tramps was reported. One was drawn to a positive cactus, impaled, and turned into a pulp. The other was repelled and thrown against a positive cactus, undergoing a similar fate. This gruesome phenomenon was observed by a group of reputable citizens. In times of great storms, the cactus's magnetic power was said to be indescribable, attracting and converting calves, birds, and young colts into the same mucilaginous substance. Due to the remote location, these strange cacti remained largely unknown until then. Physicists have achieved something quite intriguing in the field of quantum physics. They've created a quantum fractal, a structure that could reveal unusual electron behaviors. Fractals are patterns that repeat themselves at different scales, like how a small part of a cauliflower stalk resembles the entire head. However, in the quantum world, these patterns are rare. Scientists managed to create one by placing carbon monoxide molecules on a copper surface. This caused electrons within the copper to arrange themselves into a Sierpinski triangle, a fractal made up of triangles within triangles. What's intriguing is that electrons within this fractal don't behave like those in our familiar three-dimensional world. They exist in an in-between state, with a fractional number of dimensions, approximately 1.58 in this case. When particles are confined to 1 or 2 dimensions in the quantum realm, they exhibit peculiar behaviors. However, the specific behaviors of electrons in fractional dimensions are largely unexplored, offering new opportunities for scientific discovery. Interestingly, the Sierpinski triangle, the quantum fractal created by physicists, bears a resemblance to the iconic Triforce symbol from the popular video game series The Legend of Zelda. Just as the Triforce is made up of 3 equilateral triangles, the Sierpinski triangle consists of smaller triangles nested within each other. While this may be a coincidence, it's a fascinating connection between the world of quantum physics and the realm of video games, showcasing how patterns and structures can transcend different domains of human imagination and exploration. Feral children, often known as wild children, are individuals who have grown up in extreme isolation from human society, often with little or no exposure to human care, language, or social norms. They are sometimes the subjects of legends and folklore, frequently portrayed as children raised by animals. These children typically lack essential social and language skills acquired through normal human interaction. For instance, they might have difficulty using a toilet, walking upright, or showing interest in human activities. Learning a human language becomes an enormous challenge for them after years of isolation. The existence of a critical period for language learning, as suggested by their struggles, supports the critical period hypothesis. Historically, stories of feral children were limited to myths and legends before the 1600s. However, as science sought to categorize human development and understand the natural world better in the 18th and 19th centuries, philosophers and scientists began to take an interest in these children. They contemplated whether feral children represented a distinct human species. These cases posed a dilemma for psychologists in the 20th century as they tried to distinguish between biological behavior and cultural influence. Numerous documented cases of feral children exist, each with its unique circumstances. For example, there are cases of children raised by primates like weeper capuchin monkeys or vervet monkeys, children raised by wolves, dogs, goats, sheep, cattle, and even bears. These stories often involve children living in the wild, adopting the behaviors and habits of the animals they are raised by, and struggling to adapt to human society when discovered. While feral children's stories have fascinated people for centuries, it's important to note that many of these cases are subject to debate and skepticism. Some may even be hoaxes or exaggerations. Nonetheless, the study of feral children offers valuable insights into the critical role of human interaction and society in our development. Tulpa, originating in Tibetan Buddhism and later explored in mysticism, refers to a thought-formed being often taking human form. Modern practitioners known as tulpamancers create sentient imaginary friends through intense concentration. This concept is seen more as psychological than paranormal today and played a role in theosophy. The roots of tulpas can be traced to the Buddhist Nirmanakaya, which earthly bodies a Buddha uses for teaching. Western interpretations emerged in the 20th century, independently from Buddhism. Theosophists like Annie Besant classified tulpas into various forms, representing individuals, objects, or emotions. The idea also found its way into Western magic practices. Alexandra David Nail observed tulpa creation in 20th century Tibet. She believed tulpas could gain independence, sharing the story of a jolly monk-like tulpa she claimed to have created. However, she also considered her experiences might be illusions. Influenced by media, tulpamancers began using the term to describe willed imaginary friends. Online communities dedicated to tulpas formed, with practitioners believing in their sentience. These communities grew in popularity, particularly among fans of My Little Pony, who attempted to create tulpas of characters from the show. Practitioners cite loneliness and social anxiety as motivations for this practice. Some even have romantic interactions with their tulpas, which is a subject of debate. Tulpamancers claim that tulpas can communicate independently with their hosts and sometimes report hallucinations involving their tulpas. Surveys suggest a higher prevalence of neurodiversity among tulpamancers, with conditions like autism, ADD, and ADHD being more common. This might be linked to a desire to combat loneliness. The tulpamancer subculture on the internet is associated with overcoming loneliness and mental suffering. It's also closely related to reality shifting, a form of self-hypnosis used to escape into a chosen fantasy world. Radiesthesia is the ability to detect radiation emitted by living beings, objects, or geographical features. It's often associated with the use of dowsing rods or pendulums. Despite claims, there's no scientific proof of its existence, making it pseudoscience. The term radiesthesia comes from Latin with radi, referring to light beams, and aesthesia to sensory perception. It was coined by French priest Alexis Timothée Boulley, known for detecting unexploded ordnance and molecular changes. Practitioners use their hands, dowsing rods, or pendulums to detect radiation. Teleradiesthesia extends this ability to remote analysis using instruments like pendulums on maps or photos. Radiesthesia finds practical applications, such as diagnosing illnesses, locating underground water and minerals, detecting Earth's currents and fields, finding lost items or people, and analyzing supposed energy fields or auras. Researchers attribute the movement of dowsing rods or pendulums to the ideomotor phenomenon, an involuntary bodily reaction. This movement indicates changes in the subject or object being investigated. Panpsychism is a philosophical concept suggesting that consciousness, or a mind-like aspect, is inherent in everything. It's an old idea that has been endorsed by various philosophers throughout history. The term panpsychism combines pan, meaning all, and psyche, referring to the mind or soul. It proposes that some form of mentality exists in all entities, not just humans or animals. This idea has taken various forms over time. Some panpsychists attribute attributes like life or spirits to all entities, while modern proponents suggest that basic forms of sentience or subjective experience are present throughout the universe. In contemporary discussions, panpsychism has gained attention due to issues in understanding consciousness and developments in neuroscience, psychology, and quantum physics. It suggests that even fundamental physical entities possess some level of consciousness, although not necessarily in the same way as humans. Various forms of panpsychism exist, including cosmopsychism, viewing the cosmos as a unified conscious entity, panexperientialism, emphasizing that experience is everywhere, and panprotopsychism, proposing that even basic properties entail consciousness. The death ray, a theoretical concept from the 1920s and 1930s, was a particle beam or electromagnetic weapon. Notable inventors like Guglielmo Marconi, Nikola Tesla, Harry Grindle Matthews, and others claim to have independently invented it. Even as late as 1957, the National Inventors Council was seeking military inventions, including a death ray. While initially a product of fiction, the idea of energy-based weapons inspired real-life counterparts like the United States Navy's laser weapon system, LAWS, deployed in 2014, often referred to as a death ray. These are technically known as directed energy weapons. In 1923, Edwin R. Scott claimed to have developed a death ray capable of destroying life and aircraft at a distance. Harry Grindle Matthews tried to sell a similar device in 1924, but without demonstrating a functioning model. Nikola Tesla claimed to have invented a death beam in the 1930s, which he called Teleforce. He argued that it was different from traditional death rays and could transmit immense energy over long distances. Antonio Longoria claimed in 1934 to have a death ray that could kill pigeons from miles away and even a mouse inside a thick-walled chamber. During World War II, both the Germans and the Japanese had projects related to death rays involving particle accelerators and microwaves, respectively. The hollow moon hypothesis proposes that the moon is hollow, possibly created by an alien civilization. This idea, sometimes referred to as the spaceship moon hypothesis, is often associated with UFO and ancient astronaut beliefs. The concept of a hollow moon first appeared in science fiction with H.G. Wells' 1901 novel, The First Men in the Moon. The idea of hollow planets had been discussed earlier, with the first mention of a hollow Earth dating back to 1692. The concept of both a hollow moon and hollow Earth is now considered fringe or conspiracy theories. Some claim that the moon's lower density compared to Earth supports the hollow moon theory. However, mainstream science attributes this difference to variations in Earth's composition, with a less dense upper mantle and crust compared to its dense iron core. Reports of the moon ringing like a bell during moonquakes, including one caused intentionally by crashing a spacecraft, led some to speculate about a hollow interior. However, further lunar seismology experiments revealed differences in seismic behavior due to variations in texture and density of lunar strata, debunking the idea of a large empty space inside the moon. In 1970, two Soviet scientists published a hypothesis suggesting the moon was created by unknown beings. This idea was promoted in the context of ancient astronaut theories during the 1960s and 1970s. Conspiracy theorists have also pointed to the moon's perfect alignment during solar eclipses as evidence of its artificiality. However, mainstream astronomers argue that the alignment is coincidental and similar phenomena occur elsewhere in the solar system. Scientifically, multiple lines of evidence contradict the hollow moon hypothesis. Moment of inertia, parameters, and seismic observations demonstrate that the moon has a solid internal structure with a thin crust, extensive mantle, and a small, denser core. The most widely accepted scientific explanation for the moon's origin is the giant impact hypothesis. This theory suggests that a Mars-sized body collided with Earth, creating a debris ring that eventually formed the moon. While the hollow moon hypothesis has captured imaginations and fueled conspiracy theories, scientific evidence overwhelmingly supports the idea that the moon is a solid celestial body with a complex internal structure formed through natural processes. In recent times, mysterious monoliths have been appearing in different parts of the world. These monoliths are large vertical metal slabs standing 10 to 12 feet tall. They appear suddenly and vanish just as quickly. The first one emerged in the Utah desert in November, followed by similar ones in Romania, California, and New Mexico. Their appearance is reminiscent of the monoliths in Stanley Kubrick's movie 2001, A Space Odyssey, which were placed by aliens to guide human evolution. However, the origin and purpose of these real-life monoliths remain unknown. The Utah monolith, the first of its kind, was discovered in a remote canyon by a helicopter crew counting bighorn sheep. It was deeply embedded in the red rock, and was reported to have been in place since sometime between August 2015 and October 2016. While some saw these monoliths as fascinating art installations, others raised environmental concerns due to the influx of curious visitors. In fact, base jumper Andy Lewis and adventure guide Sylvan Christensen removed the Utah monolith, citing environmental reasons. Subsequently, monoliths appeared in Romania and California, and the California monolith was destroyed by a group of individuals. Local metal artists claimed responsibility for creating and reinstalling the California monolith. The origin of these monoliths is still a mystery. Various theories suggest they could be art installations, a viral marketing campaign, or even leftover props from the HBO series Westworld, as the Utah monolith site is close to filming locations for the show. One theory attributed the Utah monolith to minimalist sculptor John McCracken, but this was later debunked due to inconsistencies in construction. Despite the uncertainty surrounding their origin, these monoliths have captured the public's imagination and generated widespread interest and discussion. Regardless of their origin, these monoliths have become a form of modern art, prompting people to question and engage with their surroundings in a year marked by isolation and challenges. They serve as a reminder that art can transcend boundaries and spark curiosity, even in uncertain times. In the vast expanse of the universe, with its billions of potentially habitable planets, the notion of intelligent extraterrestrial life becomes increasingly plausible. But what sets civilizations apart is their level of technological advancement, and this is where the Kardashev scale comes into play. At the starting point, a Type 0 civilization relies on its local planet's natural resources for energy. They might burn fossil fuels or use other rudimentary sources. They're essentially the newcomers on the cosmic scene. Moving up the scale, a Type 1 civilization harnesses nuclear fusion, a clean and potent energy source. With this, they can power advanced technologies, travel within our solar system, and make significant strides in healthcare and lifespan extension. A Type 2 civilization, also known as a stellar civilization, takes it up a notch. They tap into the energy of nearby stars, possibly using Dyson spheres or other megastructures to capture vast amounts of solar energy. Poverty becomes a thing of the past, and they embark on space colonization. A Type 3 civilization, the Galactic Civilization, extends its reach across the galaxy, harvesting energy from stars near and far. They've also cracked the secrets of anti-gravity, enabling incredible feats like hovering near the sun. Life science reaches its pinnacle, focusing on consciousness extraction and immortality. Type 4, the Universal Civilization, is truly mind-boggling. They harness energy from supernovas, exploding stars, for unimaginable power. Achieving immortality and even creating life are on their agenda. In fact, they might be the creators of civilizations like ours, gods in our myths and religions. A Type 5 civilization, multiversal civilization, explores multiple universes. They seek energy from white holes' theoretical counterparts to black holes. This energy is astronomical, enabling inter-universe travel. But they realize that existence transcends dimensions, leading to a Type 6 civilization, the multidimensional civilization, where consciousness exists beyond the confines of our familiar three dimensions. They draw energy from white holes to ascend higher dimensions, gaining godlike powers, including time manipulation. And finally, Type 7, the Creator Civilization. They understand that existence itself is the ultimate force, shaping all matter, energy, and dimensions. They are beyond our comprehension, like gods of gods. The Kardashev scale offers a fascinating glimpse into the potential evolution of civilizations from humble beginnings to unfathomable heights. Thomas Townsend Brown stumbled upon an interesting discovery related to certain types of rocks, especially igneous ones. He noticed that these rocks had a consistent and slow electrical potential, unlike the usual pressure or heat-induced electrical effects seen in other materials. Brown conducted experiments in Hawaii using rocks called kulau basalt. He wanted to 1. Confirm the existence of this rock-related electrical effect. 2. Make sure it wasn't caused by pressure, heat, or other factors. 3. Explore how this discovery could be useful. In the first phase of the experiment, he simply wanted to measure the electrical voltage in these rocks without connecting them to any devices. He used a sensitive multimeter for this purpose. Brown received rocks from Hawaii, and they were cleaned thoroughly by boiling them to remove any surface contaminants. He got a large slice of a rock core and some loose rocks. To test these rocks, he applied a special gel to their surfaces and connected them to the multimeter. He made sure not to press too hard on the rocks with the electrodes. The results were somewhat puzzling. It seemed like there were two things happening. Initially, when he touched the rocks, they produced small electrical voltages, which was somewhat expected. However, some rocks continued to produce a steady voltage even after a while others did not respond much. The big challenge was figuring out why this was happening. Brown tried to eliminate other possible explanations like pressure or heat, but he couldn't be entirely sure what was causing these electrical effects. It remained a bit of a mystery. The significance of this discovery lies in the fact that certain rocks have a unique electrical property that isn't easily explained. Understanding this property could have practical applications, but at the time of Brown's experiments, those applications remained unclear. It's like finding a piece of a puzzle but not yet knowing where it fits in the bigger picture of science and technology. In ancient China, a unique construction material called sticky rice mortar was created. Unlike the hydraulic mortar used in other places, sticky rice mortar was made from organic materials mixed with inorganic mortar. This innovation, which emerged around 500 CE, combined sticky rice soup with slaked lime to form a composite mortar that was stronger and more water-resistant than traditional lime mortar. Sticky rice mortar became essential in preserving various structures, including the Great Wall, tombs, pagodas, and city walls. It had remarkable adhesive strength, durability, waterproofing properties, and even kept weeds from growing. The combination of sticky rice and burnt lime created a seal between bricks that rivaled the strength of modern cement. During the Ming Dynasty, significant improvements were made in brick-making techniques, both in quantity and quality. Great wall sections were constructed using bricks, reinforced with lime mortar and sticky rice. This reinforcement made the structures resilient against earthquakes and modern equipment like bulldozers while maintaining their integrity. Modern research by chemists revealed that a particular type of complex carbohydrate called amylopectin, found in rice and similar starchy foods, contributed to the strength and durability of sticky rice mortar. This ancient building technique remains a testament to human ingenuity and the use of natural materials in construction. Google ads appearing to predict your thoughts might seem uncanny, but there's a logical explanation. It's not mind reading, but rather a result of data collection and smart algorithms. When you search for something online, click on ads, or even talk about certain topics, Google gathers data about your preferences and interests. Over time, they create a profile of your likes and dislikes. With this profile, Google's algorithms make educated guesses about what you might be interested in. It might seem like they're reading your mind, but they're actually just predicting your preferences based on your past behavior and the behavior of people with similar interests. So while it can feel a bit eerie, it's not magic, it's the power of data and algorithms at work. Speaking of algorithm, you know what to do. A theory of everything, or TOE, is like a super theory in physics. It's the dream of finding one single theory that explains everything about our universe. Right now we have two main theories in physics. One that helps us understand big things like planets and galaxies, that's called general relativity, and another one that explains the behavior of tiny particles like atoms and electrons, that's called quantum mechanics. These two theories work great in their own ways, but when we try to use them together, especially in really extreme situations like inside black holes or during the Big Bang, they don't play nicely. So, scientists are on a mission to find a toe that can bring everything together in one neat package. One popular idea is string theory, which says that instead of particles, the tiniest building blocks of the universe are like little vibrating strings. These strings can vibrate at different frequencies, and those vibrations create all the different particles we see. Another approach is loop quantum gravity, which tries to make sense of how gravity and the quantum world can work together. It's like imagining space and time as tiny, choppy bits, rather than smooth and continuous. But here's the catch. Even though scientists are working hard on these ideas, we still don't have a complete toe. There are lots of challenges, like making gravity fit with quantum mechanics and dealing with the idea that there might be many different universes with different rules. So, while a theory of everything is a fascinating idea, we're still searching for the final answer in the puzzle of the universe. Researchers have found a clever way to transform ordinary bricks into electricity storage devices. By converting the red pigment in bricks into a plastic that conducts electricity, these brick supercapacitors can store electric charge, unlike traditional batteries. Bricks are ideal for this purpose because their porous structure provides a large surface area for energy storage. The process involves filling the brick pores with acid vapor to dissolve iron oxide, rust, which is then replaced with a sulfur-based material that reacts with iron, resulting in electrically conductive plastic coating the brick surfaces with nanofibers. This nanofiber-coated brick can power LED lights, and around 60 regular-sized bricks can provide emergency lighting for 50 minutes and recharge in 13 minutes. Surprisingly, these supercapacitor bricks can be recharged up to 10,000 times, making them highly durable. This research has effectively repurposed waste material, iron oxide, into a valuable resource for producing advanced construction materials with enhanced capabilities. While this work is groundbreaking in demonstrating energy storage in bricks, other researchers are also exploring different applications of chemically altered bricks, including their use as chemical catalysts and for pollution removal. In the future, researchers aim to increase the energy storage capacity of these bricks by incorporating other semiconductors and developing self-assembling 3D patterns within the bricks, ultimately creating bricks that can be easily assembled like Lego blocks. Artificial wombs, also known as artificial uteri, are devices designed to support the development of a fetus outside the body. These artificial uteri serve various purposes and have raised significant ethical and practical questions. Artificial uteri offer several potential applications. They could aid couples in fetal development, allowing for the transfer of a developing fetus from a natural womb to an artificial one. This could extend the time frame of fetal viability. Additionally, they might facilitate early-stage fetal surgeries that would otherwise have to wait until full-term pregnancy. In recent years, researchers have made strides in this field. Studies have shown embryos developing for extended periods within artificial uterine environments. However, there are legal restrictions in some countries limiting how long human embryos can be kept in artificial wombs. In 2021, the International Society for Stem Cell Research relaxed the 14-day rule for such research. One significant challenge is replicating the functions of a natural womb. Artificial uteri must provide nutrition, oxygen, and waste disposal for the fetus. Some propose a connection to a woman's circulatory system, allowing her to supply nutrients and immune protection. This approach eliminates potential risks from diseases, pollutants, or substances in the mother's bloodstream. To provide oxygen, techniques like extracorporeal membrane oxygenation, ECMO, have been explored. However, there are concerns, particularly in premature fetuses. Nutrition methods are still problematic, and hormonal stability remains a challenge. Researchers are also investigating ways to replicate functions such as the uterine wall, interface, artificial placenta, amniotic sac, and umbilical cord. These components are crucial for supporting fetal development. The development of artificial wombs has both bioethical and legal implications. It may redefine the concept of fetal viability and impact abortion laws. Additionally, it could change traditional gender roles in reproduction, allowing greater flexibility for same-sex couples and potentially altering our understanding of parenthood. Nagoro, also known as Nagoro Doll Village, is a unique village situated in the Iwaya Valley on Shikoku Island, Japan. What sets this place apart is the abundance of lifelike dolls that can be found throughout the village, making it a rather unusual tourist attraction. Once home to around 300 residents, Nagoro's population has significantly declined over the years due to Japan's broader population trends. By September 2019, the village had just 27 inhabitants. The story of Nagoro's doll proliferation begins with Tsukimi Ayano. She returned to Nagoro in the early 2000s to care for her father and created a doll resembling him, placing it in a field. This marked the start of a unique trend. Tsukimi Ayano has since crafted over 400 dolls, including replacements, with approximately 350 of them now residing in the village. These dolls come in various forms, with some replicating actual residents, while others are entirely fictional. Ayano's initiative inspired others in the village to follow suit. Even the local school, which closed in 2012 due to declining enrollment, is now filled with dolls. In one classroom, you can find self-portrait dolls made by the last 2 students to attend the school, dressed in their own clothes. The dolls are spread throughout Nagoro, creating a surreal atmosphere. You might encounter dolls sitting by a telephone pole, fishing in the river, or waiting at a bus shelter. The village's transformation into a haven for these dolls has turned it into an offbeat tourist destination. Aside from its doll-filled streets, Nagoro is also known for the nearby Nagoro Dam, which has been in operation since 1961 and serves as a source of hydropower generation. In 2020, Nagoro gained additional fame when it was featured in the final episode of the series, James May, Our Man in Japan, where host James May was turned into a scarecrow doll based on his likeness. Thule, a term rooted in ancient Greek and Roman literature, is an enigmatic concept that has taken on various interpretations throughout history. In the classical and medieval eras, Thule was often seen as the farthest, most distant place known to the ancient Greeks and Romans, representing the outer limits of the known world. The Greek explorer Pytheas first mentioned Thule in the 4th century BC, describing it in his lost work, On the Ocean. He spoke of a place where there was no proper land, sea, or air, but rather a strange mixture of all three, likening it to a jellyfish-like consistency. Later writers like Geminus of Rhodes claimed that Thule was where the sun went to rest, linking it to polar night phenomena and the midnight sun. However, the actual location of Thule remained elusive. Some identified it with the northern British Isles, while others suggested Iceland or Greenland. Even in the late Middle Ages, Thule was thought to be situated in Scandinavia. In more recent times, the term Thule was associated with the northernmost regions of Greenland, where Knud Rasmussen established a post in 1910 and named it Thule. This location later became Thule Air Base. In 2023, Thule Air Base was transferred to the U.S. Space Force and renamed Patuxent Space Base. The mystery surrounding Thule continues to captivate, with its historical connections and shifting interpretations providing rich material for literature and exploration. Early human ancestors might have survived harsh winters by hibernating, similar to bears, bats, and hedgehogs. Fossil evidence from a significant site in Spain indicates that early humans coped with extreme cold by slowing down their metabolisms and sleeping for months. Lesions and damage in fossilized bones of these ancestors align with those found in the bones of hibernating animals. This suggests that our predecessors adapted to ferocious winters hundreds of thousands of years ago by hibernating to conserve energy and survive with limited food supplies. The excavation site, Cima de los Huesos, located near Burgos in northern Spain, has yielded fossilized remains of humans dating back over 400,000 years. These remains show seasonal variations in bone growth, indicating disruptions in bone development for several months each year. The researchers propose that early humans entered metabolic states similar to hibernation, enabling them to endure extended periods of frigid conditions and food scarcity. The disruption in bone development recorded this process. Although the idea of early humans hibernating may sound like science fiction, many mammals, including primates, exhibit similar behavior. This suggests that the genetic basis and physiology for such a hypometabolism could be preserved in various mammalian species, including humans. The pattern of lesions found in the human bones at Cima de los Huesos resembles those in bones of hibernating mammals such as cave bears. Researchers believe hibernation was a survival strategy for early humans enduring harsh winter conditions, similar to cave bears. Counter-arguments have been examined, including the fact that modern Inuit and Sami people living in cold conditions do not hibernate. However, these populations have access to fatty fish and reindeer fat during winter, which provided sufficient food to eliminate the need for hibernation. In contrast, the area around Cima de los Huesos 500,000 years ago likely did not provide enough fat-rich food, leading early humans to resort to cave hibernation to survive. While the idea of early humans hibernating sparks debate, further research is needed to explore alternative explanations for bone variations found at the site and to examine genetic evidence related to torpor, a state similar to hibernation. In 1990, a peculiar stone called the Sky Stone was discovered in Sierra Leone, West Africa, by geologist and archaeologist Angelo Pittoni. Tests conducted in various research laboratories worldwide confirmed that this blue stone was unlike any known natural rock. It appeared to be artificial. The stone resembled pure turquoise and was unlike any other gemstone known to man. It was a unique crystal found in Sierra Leone's diamond fields. Years later, an American artist and designer named Jared Collins encountered this mysterious stone during a gem and mineral sourcing trip to Asia. Even though he was initially skeptical, he sent a sample to Dr. Preety at GRS Swiss Labs for testing. Dr. Preety couldn't identify the composition of the stone, describing it as unidentifiable. While he suspected the blue color might be organic, he couldn't determine its origin. The skystone's composition was eventually revealed to be 77% oxygen, along with traces of carbon, silicon, calcium, and sodium. This composition made it similar to concrete or stucco and suggested artificial coloring. Interestingly, the stone was known to the natives in the area where it was found, as it occasionally surfaced during digging. Even more intriguing, it was consistently discovered in soil layers dating back to at least 12,000 BC. The origins of the skystone remain a mystery, sparking speculations about an advanced civilization lost in time. It's a fascinating enigma that has left experts and enthusiasts pondering its true nature. A 1000-year-old Buddha statue held a remarkable secret, an ancient mummy. The statue, displayed at the Drents Museum in the Netherlands, was examined at the Meander Medical Center in the Dutch town of Amersfoort. Modern medical technology uncovered this hidden mystery. Radiologists performed a full-body CT scan and DNA tests were conducted. What they discovered inside was astonishing. Instead of organs, the mummy's body contained ancient Chinese characters printed on paper and other unidentified rotted materials. How the organs were removed from the mummy remains unknown. The mummy is believed to be that of Buddhist master Luquan, a member of the Chinese meditation school, who lived around AD 1100. One theory is that he underwent the gruesome process of self-mummification, a practice followed by some monks in Japan and other parts of Asia. This process involved a strict diet that gradually starved the body, followed by being buried alive in an underground chamber. Monks hoped to achieve self-mummification to become revered, living Buddhas. If successful, the mummified body was venerated. If not, an exorcism was performed, and the monk was reburied. Today, mummified monks like Luquan are considered by some Buddhists to be in a deep meditative state called tukdam. While self-mummification was rarely successful, some cases like Luquan's continue to amaze and intrigue us, shedding light on the remarkable practices of the past. An organoid is a three-dimensional miniature version of an organ created in a lab. It replicates the key functions and biological complexity of a real organ. Organoids are grown from a small number of cells, typically derived from tissues, embryonic stem cells, or induced pluripotent stem cells. These cells can self-organize and differentiate to mimic the structure and function of the target organ. The technique for growing organoids has rapidly advanced since the early 2010s, making it one of the notable scientific achievements of 2013. Scientists and engineers use organoids for various purposes, including studying development and diseases, drug discovery, personalized medicine, gene and cell therapies, tissue engineering, and regenerative medicine. The history of organoid development traces back to early experiments with mechanically dissociated cells from organisms like sponges, amphibians, and embryonic chicks. These cells could reaggregate and self-organize to form whole organisms. Over time, researchers explored the potential of stem cells to form organs in vitro. The shift from culturing stem cells in 2D to 3D media allowed for the development of complex three-dimensional organ structures. Since 1987, various methods have been devised to culture organoids, using different types of stem cells to generate organoids resembling a wide range of organs. These developments have led to significant physiological functionality of organoids in vitro and in vivo. Organoids have been successfully created for various organs, such as the brain, cerebral organoids, gastrointestinal tract, intestinal organoids, stomach, gastric organoids, tongue, lingual organoids, thyroid, thymus, testes, prostate, liver, pancreas, lungs, kidneys, and more. Each type of organoid serves as a valuable model for studying specific organ functions, diseases, and potential treatments. These miniature organs are formed by culturing stem cells or progenitor cells in a 3D medium, typically using extracellular matrix hydrogels like Madrigal. Depending on the desired organoid type, stem cells are differentiated and patterned to develop specific characteristics. Organoids can be used to model diseases, study cellular interactions, and test the effects of drugs. They offer a unique opportunity for personalized medicine, as they can be created from patient cells to understand individual responses to treatments. Organoids represent a significant advancement in the field of biology and medicine, allowing scientists to study organs and diseases in a controlled laboratory environment and potentially revolutionizing personalized medicine. Xenobots are synthetic life forms designed by computers using biological tissues and inspired by the African clawed frog. They're less than 1 millimeter wide and made of skin and heart muscle cells derived from frog embryos. These tiny Xenobots can walk, swim, carry payloads, and even work together to clean up debris. They're designed in simulations through trial and error and have unique abilities like self-healing. Xenobots are biodegradable, making them potentially useful for environmental applications. They could gather microplastics in the ocean, reducing pollution. In medicine, Xenobots made from a patient's cells might be used for tasks like plaque removal from arteries or targeted drug delivery. These tiny organisms created with AI and biology raise questions about what defines life and could have a significant impact on science and technology. The Sron Hypothesis is a concept proposed by astrophysicists Adam Frank and Gavin Schmidt in 2018. It explores the idea of detecting evidence of an advanced civilization that existed on Earth before humans. While they consider it unlikely, they ponder the possibility of finding traces of such a civilization in the geological record. Frank and Schmidt argue that there has been enough fossil carbon to fuel an industrial civilization since the Carboniferous period, which was approximately 350 million years ago. However, finding direct evidence like technological artifacts is unlikely due to the rarity of fossilization and the limited exposed surface of Earth. Instead, researchers might find indirect evidence such as climate changes, anomalies in sediment, or traces of nuclear waste. The hypothesis also speculates that artifacts from past civilizations could be found on celestial bodies like the Moon and Mars, where erosion and tectonic activity are less likely to erase evidence. In popular culture, similar ideas have been explored in science fiction novels, television shows, and stories. For example, the Silurians from Doctor Who are a fictional species that established an advanced civilization on Earth before humans. Other works of fiction have also delved into the concept of pre-human civilizations and the challenges of finding their remnants. This thought experiment raises intriguing questions about the potential existence of advanced civilizations in Earth's distant past and the difficulties in detecting their presence.